Hey there, welcome to day 62 of our Let's Grow annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we are going to jump to a day late, spiritual well-being and health and spiritual growth. We're going to talk about spiritual growth the entire month of March. Why? Because Easter actually falls into March this year. Unusual, doesn't do it too often, but every once in a while it does. So I decided we'd talk about spirituality this month. And the first thing we do whenever we hop into a new area or aspect of our life is we have to define what spiritual health, spiritual well-being, and spiritual growth is to us. What does it mean to us? Because we all have a different sense of connection to some sort of higher power. That's my definition of spirituality, is my connection to a higher power. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things we want to consider, but our action item today is going to be to define spiritual well-being, spiritual health for you. How do you envision that? What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? What does that smell, taste like? All of our senses built into it. What is that for you? What's your definition of spiritual growth, spiritual health, spiritual well-being? Because I guarantee it's going to be slightly different from mine and everybody else that's participating in the challenge. So what are some things to consider when we're considering our spiritual health and well-being? I took a couple of notes so that I could remember some key points. As far as the definition goes, there's elements of spiritual health would include self-awareness and reflection. How self-aware are you? Do you reflect on the way you think and feel and believe about different things? Do you reflect on bigger questions like, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my connection to the rest of humanity and the rest of the universe? Do you ask yourself questions like that? What is my connection to God or whatever you happen to believe in? So self-awareness, cultivation of virtues like empathy, kindness, forgiveness. By understanding and practicing those things, that helps us to become more self-aware and more in touch with the connection between all living things. I personally believe there's a connection between all living things, and that to harm others actually harms ourselves inadvertently. And then finally, another key element of our spiritual health and well-being to me is mindfulness, and presence. How present am I in the current moment? I remember spending a lot of years of my life running through my life and either worrying about the past or regretting something that had happened in the past, or worrying about the future, what might happen, what could happen, what was going to happen, worrying about what was going to happen. And I don't remember, it was probably after my sudden cardiac arrest, probably a little before, I started to study and learn about universal laws and about spirituality and about different tools, different meditation, hypnosis, things like that, that helped me to become more self-aware. Because you know what? When I was younger, I don't think I was very self-aware. I was just going through my life, going through the motions like I thought I should. I was doing the things I thought were expected of me as a sister, as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend. And the things didn't always feel great to me, which should have been an indication that they weren't right for me, but I didn't know that yet. So as far as indications of spiritual well-being, how do you know if you are doing okay spiritually? I guess we're always where we are and we move and grow from that point, but we have to first realize where we are. And we'll later, next week, we will go ahead and apply our SOAP framework. And that is a framework for dealing with any change or challenge or area that we want to improve in our life. And we'll apply that to spirituality, one of our something in the area or aspect of spirituality, and you will pick yours and I will pick mine. But some things to consider are, do you have a sense of purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? Do you know why you're here on the planet? You know, that's a question I actually pondered literally for decades. And I used to commiserate and think, well, why wasn't I born with some great talent, like artistic ability or musical ability or acting or something that could help me to move forward in life? And obviously that wasn't my journey. But we get at that by meditating and contemplating and spending quiet time by ourselves, thinking about the bigger questions, the bigger things. What's my purpose? Why am I here? How am I positively impacting the world? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to make the world a worse place. There's plenty of people doing that. I want to make the world a better place, which is part of my purpose. Secondly, we want to consider our resilience in adversity. How well do you handle the tough stuff that happens in life, the challenges, the changes, illnesses, deaths, accidents, missed opportunities, disappointments? You know, how many of us have been passed over for promotion ever and we felt bad about it? How do you handle that? And one of my favorite ways to handle any kind of a disappointment or anything, or to increase my resilience, is to spend time in nature. I believe that nature is the ultimate, not maybe the ultimate, but is definitely an expression of spirituality. And the more time I personally spend in nature, for me, increases my well-being and increases my spiritual health and well-being and my connection to things outside of myself. It's also, and we'll talk about this when we get to financial area and aspect of our life, nature and spending time outdoors and in nature is my absolute reminder of how abundant a universe we live in. And then finally, another thing to consider in terms of an indicator of spiritual well-being is compassionate service. Are you doing anything outside of yourself to positively make the world a better place, to help others? Are you contributing by volunteering or donating or mentoring? Even mentoring other people is making the world a better place. Are you modeling and setting a good example for people, or are you a warning? Sometimes we're a warning, sometimes we're an example. I try to be, the older I get, more often an example than a warning, but I still fill both roles sometimes, as do most of us. So again, our action item today, you define what spiritual well-being and spiritual health and spiritual growth is for you. Share it in the comments below so we can learn from one another. Any questions about this, hit me up. There is a write-up and guide to of the Let's Grow Annual Challenge private Facebook group, as well as Tracy's story about how she came about defining spiritual growth, spiritual well-being, and spiritual health for herself. I think it's fun to learn from other people's stories. All right, again, any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.